Hello students, let me welcome you to the next audio lecture on web technology and its application. This is the course overview and course outcome. In the last class we were discussing about the box model. Under that we have seen the certain properties. Now we'll look on borders property. This is the list of the properties which I described in previous lecture also. So now we'll see about the first property, that is shortcut notation. So always when you are making use of a shortcut, that is a border itself, and using a border you want to specify the attributes for all the four sides, then this is the sequence that you are supposed to use, that is TRBL. What is TRBL? I'll explain you. Top is T, R right, B bottom, and L is left side. So with border, margin and property padding properties, there are long form and shortcut methods to set the four sides. So you also have the way to set it as border top color, border right color, border bottom color. You can set it with the different side with the different values as well, rather than using only border color, which will set all the four sides to red. Right? You can also specify red, green, orange, blue. As I said, you can you can replace all the four rules by a single rule, but you should remember the sequence. Top, whenever you are using, T is coming first, then right, then bottom, and left. Okay, so this is how the shortcut notation also works for all the four sides. Yeah, I was talking about margins and padding properties particularly. Yeah, this is what it is. Virtually you can just observe that this paragraph is also having the what property. So here the padding is made as 0. There is no gap between the surrounding elements here in the output, correct? Sorry, in the margin is made as 0. Then we have set the margin to this as 30 pixel. You are able to see the gap here. So what is padding? I said padding is a gap between the text and its border. So when I set the padding property 30 pixel, you are able to see a space surrounding the border and its content, isn't it? This gap you are able to visible, this is padding, whereas this gap is specified through margin. There is a gap of 30 pixels in the elements lying around it. Okay, so this is the box model property actually, isn't it? So margin property, you can just notice these differences. Yeah, if there are overlapping margins, then how it is handled? So if overlapping margins did not collapse, then margin space would be 180 pixel, 90 pixel for the bottom margin of first and 90 pixel to the top margin of the second, while the margins 4 and 5 would be 100 pixel. Why it is 4 and 5? It is 100 for 4 and 5, sum is 100 there. So this example is explaining you about collapsing margin, when they are overlapping, when they are not overlapping, how it works. So when the vertical margins of two elements touch each other, the largest margin value of the element will be displayed, the smaller margin will be collapsed to 0. So horizontal margin on the other hand never collapses, because it's not possible to complicate the matters even further. There are a larger number of special cases in adjoining. Vertical margins are also not collapsing, that depends upon the browser settings again. So box model properties are also specifying width and height properties to specify to the size of the elements content area, perhaps only relevant for collapsing margins. So this is having a potential issue, so is not discussed here, is not used practically also. So we'll go for what are the potential problems with the width and height. We'll see only block level elements and non-text inline elements such as images have a width and height that you can specify. You cannot specify width and height to a paragraph. That creates a issue, isn't it? If I specify width and height to a paragraph, then indirectly you are specifying the padding and margin properties, right? So this is the width, and you are specifying the font size and font base. Accordingly it has to adjust. If you are taking a larger font and larger font size and setting a width and height lesser, then it will create a problem, isn't it? So this is one reason why it has been allowed for only for non-text inline elements like image and all, right, where you can specify the width and height to a image, right, but it cannot be done for a paragraph. This is the reason why it is not kept for text kind of elements. The other problem is, since width and height refer to the size of the content area, by default the total size of an element is equal to not only its content area but also to the sum of its padding, borders and margins also, isn't it? So that's what I was telling beginning. That also creates a potential problem while displaying to the browser, correct? Yeah, this is illustrating the same thing. Yeah, true element width is 10 plus 10 pixels here, 2 pixels is this gap, 5 pixels is this gap, this overall is 200, again 5 here, 2 here, that is the 2 is what? The borders width itself. Okay, this line is 2 pixel, then after that 10 pixels, so totally it is set with the 234. Okay, so this is what how it is dividing it. Okay, yeah, if you use width and height to a paragraph, what will happen? You can just observe here. Alright, by default it is displaying like this. When you specify the width and height, it is lying within this only. But if you specify a font size and see, it is exceeding, this content is exceeding, is not able to fit here, so then it is not able to take this property. It is coming out of this border also. That's why it is ignored here, right? Even though you have said it should be 200 width and height is 100 pixels only, it is not able to fit, the content is not able to fit. So simply these two properties which are assigned to the paragraph width and height are ignored by the browser. This way it is crossing the borders. Overflow property. So you can adjust this through overflow property. The solution for this is, one of the solution is overflow property. So when it is overflowing, you can have 4 possible values, right? If you set the overflow property, this is the way it appears when you are making it as visible. Yeah, you are highlighting back only that portion is, part of the portion is applied with the property of having a background color as gray. Hidden, where you do not show the overflowed part, so it is made as hidden. Here you have made it as visible, so it is appearing. You can set it as a scroll also. You can just drag it to see the rest of the part. Automatic, so automatic it is coming as a what? Scroll. So this is another property when you would like to set width and height property for text elements also. That case it is better to use the over property along with that, whether you would like to show the additional part of the text or you want to hide, whether you want to scroll and show or you want to make it automatically handled by the browser. So this is how you can make use of the overflow property of a CSS. Sizing elements. Yeah, while the previous example used pixels for its measurement, many contemporary designers prefer to use percentage or EM units for width and height. So when you use percentage, the size is relative to the size of its parent element, or when you are using it within the embedded elements, it is relative to the size in which it is embedded. So the rationale behind using this relative measures is to mark one's design scalable to the size of the browsers or device that is in which it is being displayed. Say the same website may be appearing in the mobile like devices also, isn't it? So this is how it is having effect. You can observe. You are saying that whole HTML document is covered to 100% width and height. Background is silver taken. Yeah, this is 100%, right? So but pixels is certain. Where is pixels in the? Yeah, here is a pixel. This division is having pixels, right? Class name as pixels. For that, what we said, this particular division should occupy 200 pixels and 50 pixels in width and height. Okay, this one, right? Having a background color as steel. Okay, and whereas this division percent should occupy remain 50% of this, right? So this has occupied 50% and this steel color, no sorry, by this percent is having a olive color, correct? So this is the way you can adjust them in terms of pixels as well as percentages also. So by looking at this, you'll be having a clear picture that it is preferable to, or it is easy to specify the width and height of any element relative to its parent in terms of percentage, isn't it? Yeah, it is clearly shown in this example where you have a